Hey guys, so quantum computing is one of the most hyped technologies out there, and QBTS is making some bold claims. But is it really a game changer that they say it is? Because earlier this year, I went to CES and spoke directly with the industry executives like Microsoft and IBM to find out if quantum was advancing as fast as people think. And what we uncovered is that the industry is on track to hit trillions in the next few years, and the growth is real. Now, this next month, we're going to the Qubits conference in Scottsdale to get an inside look at how they're leading the charge and if we're just riding hype or what that looks like. So until then, let's break it down. QBTS, is it just another opportunity as a stock, or is it something that could be good? Also, guys, I'm in Miami for the next few days and we're going live nevertheless at Market Open. If you want to watch me trade in real time, check the second link in the description for lifetime access to StockMate. Let's jump in, guys. So as you can see here, the quantum market started to recover after hours. You can see Nvidia jumped up a little bit, about 0.67%. QBTS and Rigetti popped up a little bit. QBTS specifically is on this trend that it pulled back to this line here. And we're wondering, hey, is it going to consolidate out, or are we going to see it bounce? Couple things to notice. This right now is showing signs of bullish momentum on the longer term trend, but just recently it broke below this 200-day moving average. Now, not always does breaking below this 200-day moving average mean that it's bearish, but most times it acts as a resistance. So if you wanted to look at, for example, moving averages on the short term, we could look at this blue line. You see this? This is the EMA. So oftentimes this EMA, how I have it set up at a standard 15-day exponential moving average, whenever it breaks below, it's bearish. And whenever it breaks above this blue line, it is bullish. So you see that? So it stays above. And if it breaks below, bearish. If it breaks above, it will act oftentimes as a support. We've seen it break below, bearish, break above, kind of bounce. And as we see recently, it's been doing the same kind of trend, and it broke below this EMA, so now it's looking bearish. Now it's also approaching this 200-day moving average, so this green line that it broke through today. And we're saying, hey, if it bounces here, the RSI, the MACD are kind of indicating more of an oversold look, that it potentially could bounce here. But we're going to have to see it break above that EMA, break back above this SMA, the 200-day green line, the moving average, and that would give us some more indication that the stock is going to continue up. But right now, it looks a little bit bearish on that trend. Now, if we look at the last month or so, we'll take a look at Fibonacci because that one's been interesting lately. But you see this kind of consolidation over here? This consolidation is also a support right here, and it's acted as a support here for QBTS. So you kind of see this line, see that support? That's where it is right now. And so it also, while it broke below that 200-day moving average and it looks more on the bearish side, there's also this support that it could potentially bounce. And this is what you might look for tomorrow, Friday, at Market Open, because when we look at this resistance, if it does play this level or even play this consolidation level that we've seen play out, that's a recovery of potentially from here to here about 22%, and then up to that previous closer high right here would be about 45% margin for profit. That's a pretty hefty margin for profit. So when we look at the three things of the market, quantum market is expected to grow, and we've seen that IBM recently announced that they had over $1 billion in revenue in quantum. Google Willow chip is coming out. Microsoft Majorana is coming out. I almost said marinara sauce. Majorana from Microsoft, the Willow quantum chip is coming out. So quantum's there. Google is there. Just saw today, I believe it was it Apple that's also releasing a quantum chip? Things are starting to get interesting as all these companies are starting to release their own quantum chips. Now, also, when you look at Nvidia, they just crushed earnings 2 days ago. They're starting to push up. You see them up about 0.77%, so up a little bit more, now 0.78%, than they were when they closed, because we know that Nvidia was down quite a bit. They just crushed their earnings, but they're still down a little bit. So Nvidia, while their overall trend is up, okay, they still have some room that could carry this market. So let's see this pullback. You see this pullback on Nvidia? They're one of the biggest tech companies that if they do recover and we start to see the investors pay respect to them as a company, that they are doing well, which according to their financials, they're doing very well. But let's say that the market recognizes that and we see more investors jump in and Nvidia gets back here to previous highs, most likely will carry the quantum market quite a bit. So that's just something to consider. It's out of support here. It is also a company that's, we can take a look at their usage, but apparently they're being used much more than other quantum computing companies. So let's take a look at QBTS stock here, and then we'll go to D-Wave on their website as well. And one of the things to realize about D-Wave, they're a smaller market cap, 1.7 billion. And when we look at the overall growing market, their financials kind of reflect that. If we go into these quarters, just take a look at this year over year revenue. It's jumping 21% there, 55% year over year. That was 27% year over year. So their net income still negative, but improving. And you see that in most quarters. It was only this quarter 3, 2024, where they were mostly down on their earnings. So we'll have to see if that reflects in this quarter 4. And their earnings per share and revenue were also, they've been down. So a lot of people are saying, hey, when is this going to kick in? We know they're plugging into businesses. They're working with companies like NASA or government entities like NASA. They're also working with, I think it's Hyundai and MasterCard. They have a partnership with MasterCard as well. And they are very adamant about providing the quantum infrastructure for companies in almost every industry. So if you go into sectors, they're in manufacturing. Okay, let's see solutions. They're in workforce scheduling, production scheduling, logistics routing, resource optimization, cargo loading. And they say that they're being used right now. And also, if you talk about their quantum annealing technology, they're able to get you a solution to problems that you present to them through the cloud here on their website. So you can get started, tap into their quantum computer, and start using it right now. And apparently, if you submit a problem or you give it a data set and look for an answer, you can get an answer back in about 1 minute. While other quantum computing companies are taking a couple hours or days. For example, if you head over to AWS, you check out Rigetti or its competitor IONQ, which IONQ really missed earnings. So we know that while they're here on AWS, while they're here on Microsoft, and while they're on Google, IONQ is not seeing a lot of usage, or at least a lot of revenue. I know that they're also in the early stages and that they're basically paying and giving out free credits for people to use. Same thing over here on D-Wave. You can get started and you can get like a promotional type of credit, I believe, where they give you a certain amount of onboarding to get you started. But basically, they allow you to to build tools using quantum computers and also to build quantum applications. So that's what they're focusing on. This is powerful. This is talking about constraints. You can see our hybrid solver can solve complex problems of up to 1 million variables and 100,000 constraints. It automatically runs on quantum and classical resources based on D-Wave's advanced algorithms. So that shows they're already starting to build their software tremendously. So what we're looking forward to here is some upcoming earnings in the mix for D-Wave. The news for D-Wave, if we check, let's take a look what has come out as of recently with D-Wave. If you go to overview, come down to the latest news, they just had an article that was released today. Okay, so they are D-Wave Quantum to report fourth quarter and fiscal 2024 financial results on March 13th. So they're coming up next month, and then preceding that, about 15 or 18 days later, they have their Qubits conference where you can go attend. We're going to be attending there in Scottsdale, Arizona. They're going to be reporting these results over in Palo Alto, California. And you can see that they have this scheduled. They're sharing it. They say they got this 5,000 qubit advantage in quantum computers. They got the world's largest and are available on premises or via the cloud, supported by 99.9% availability and uptime. That kind of shows some truth to you get an answer within 1 minute. That uptime is up, while other quantum computing companies have had downtime. Maybe things not functioning as they would expect with their software, but apparently D-Wave has it together. More than 100 organizations trust D-Wave with their toughest computational challenges, with over 200 million problems submitted to our Advantage systems and Advantage 2 system prototypes to date. Our customers apply our technology addressed to use cases spanning optimization, artificial intelligence, research, and more. You can learn more about realizing the value of quantum computing today and how we're shaping the quantum-driven industrial and societal advancements of tomorrow. So on top of that, they also have this live dial-in number, okay, where you can call to listen to the earnings call if you guys want to screenshot that, or you can go to D-Wave and make sure that you are there through their website. On top of these news articles, there hasn't been any recent ones that have been more or less like breakthroughs, seeing that they've had more usage potentially based on what they say. And they have some partnerships with some companies that are big enough that you'd say, that might bring in some big revenues. Companies like MasterCard, I think it was Hyundai potentially. Got to look at what companies it was that they were partnered with as well. I think they were partnered with maybe Shell and some others. And yeah, I got to double check on some of those, but I know that they're partnered with MasterCard. And we'll have to see, because those big businesses are a key role in how they're going to make money, right? They got to plug into businesses. So that will be interesting to see in their earnings. Now, when we get into the stock and you see how they're consolidating from left to right, I'm not saying that they're going to bounce. That's not what I would say. But just based on the pattern that we're seeing now, well, first of all, it has a better chance of breaking through the support and continuing down than it does of bouncing. And the only reason why I say that is because we were confident that it was going to bounce the first time it bounced, or second time it bounced here. Then the third time we were confident. And we traded QBTS. We traded this 25% swing multiple times throughout February. Like, it's been a great stock to trade. And then we saw this swing right here from February 11th to February 14th. It did it again. And then it broke out, couldn't find support on the previous resistance, and then sold back down. Right now, it's possible it bounces at the same spot again at this $5.50 range. And to jump into Fibonacci, let's take a look at how this Fibonacci trend looks. A lot of times you want to take from the high, so we go to the very highest point at $11 a share on QBTS, which is where it reached back here. And we follow the trend, see the downtrend. Basically, you want to pick the lowest point recently from the big sell-off. So that was the big sell-off from $11 down to this point at $3.33. And we can go ahead, and that was about a 1 month swing. We could pull this from the very bottom of that level to where we would expect the stock to go in the near future. So we retrace back to what would be, we'd be looking at these previous high levels back in that $10 range. So if we get in this $10 range here, now we're looking at Fibonacci. Okay, so Fibonacci, a couple things you look at. This line right here, this yellow line right here is where we would indicate a buy for longer term in Fibonacci. So essentially, and I could pull this down just a little bit, essentially anything above about $6 a share would indicate more of a buy. And that actually holds true for this RSI crossing over, this MACD crossing over, and then also this EMA and SMA. If it breaks up above $6, that indicates it's breaking up back above that moving average, the 200-day moving average, and that would be more of a buy. So again, confirmation, seeing it push up above $6, I think would put us in a good position to trade this back into these levels, maybe up to here in this $6.50 range. Things go really great, we could see it get up to the $7.80 range. And then of course, the writing that would be perfect is getting up to previous highs of the $10 range. And if we're going to make that trade, let's say we wait for the golden area, the ratio there, and we buy here. If we trade this swing, it'd be about 10%, and that's what we've kind of looked for in the past and that we play quite often. If it goes great and it gets to this level right here, it'd be about 20%, and then about 40%, and then previous highs would be about 70% return on investment. So that's what we'll be watching closely here on QBTS. I think there will be opportunities at market open, and if you guys would like to join us live, see my entries and my exits Monday through Friday at market open, I would encourage you to check out StockMate. It's the second link in the description. Love to see you there when the market opens. Thank you guys so much for watching. If I earned your thumbs up, hit that like button. Do consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.